recording. Oops. Cancel. There we go. It is now recording. Welcome everybody to our December Home and Community-Based Team Meeting. Thank you for allowing me to change this meeting. It is the BHS Support Christmas Party tomorrow, and so I wanted to be respectful of that, and so thank you for changing. We're going to go ahead and start with a prayer, which should be up on your screen. And of course, this is not page downing for me. Enter page down. Sometimes it does that, and needs to be, there we go. Needs to be just kicked back into shape here. So if you will all please center yourself and join me in a prayer, I would appreciate it. Lord, you have entrusted us as stewards of your creation. Please guide our hearts as we make our decisions. We seek you first in all that we do together. We give you our business, our suppliers, our customers, and our workforce. May we always be mindful of their service. We confess that we are nothing without you, and our trust is in you completely. Amen. So welcome everybody. I'm going to cover our agenda today. We've got a lot going on, and a fair share of our agenda today is actually going to be on a inviting a vendor in, and I'll explain in a second why I'm doing that. So we're going to talk about Heritage Meadows, review the dashboard, focus and execute some reminders and tools for how we can make sure that we are moving forward on the on Jerry Carley's focus and execute the ultimate strategic goals that we're reaching for. Quick finance update, some reminders, update on the pricing, update on Matrix, and specifically the handhelds that would be used within Matrix, and then again, new preferred emergency response systems. One of the things, and we'll talk, as Sean Johnson is going to join us at 2:30, but BHS traditionally has used two vendors, Advanced Wireless and IdeaCom. There is a new vendor called Elder Solutions Group that actually came out of IdeaCom that Sean has worked with for years, that has a solution that I think really meets all of the criteria that I've been hearing housing folks say that they would like into the future. So this is the new preferred vendor. I know some of you are actively looking for new emergency response systems right now. Other ones, for other reasons such as security or communication or what have you, are also investing. So I wanted to get this information out to all of you so that you were aware of it as these needs might come up, that this is the preferred BHS solution. So we'll be spending a fair amount of time on that. And we'll tailor our agenda around a 2:30 timeline for them to join us. And then we'll close up with just some various FYIs. Minnesota EW, Fire Advert is another FYI, and others. So, and then hopefully if we have time, we can have others weigh in if there's any updates or things that they want to share with the team. As always, you guys are all off of mute right now. From my perspective, I have not muted you. So if you could please mute yourself. But please feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions, comments, or concerns at any point in the conversation. And I will open the chat box so I can also read if you have any comments as well. So starting with our agenda, again, I just want to say welcome to Heritage Meadows. We closed on that building yesterday, had a really nice, open house to meet the residents, and Jerry was down there, Teresa Hildebrandt hosted it, Jane Anderson was there, and really nice ceremony. So we have a new member of our team. Her name is Jessica. She is the manager of Heritage Meadows. I'm not sure if she's on the call right now. Hopefully she is. And just want to welcome Jessica and welcome Heritage Meadows to the team. And my computer is acting up. It keeps freezing and not moving down. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is kind of just talk about, actually just to go over the dashboard, and I'm going to bring this into my screen. Hold on one second. Here we go. I having such computer problems here? There we go. Okay, so this is already set for the AL, and just as we do in every meeting, just wanted to review where we're at and talk about a little bit of some items to note as we look at this. So again, all of you have access to this. You should be looking at this for your facility specific. This is the bigger overall look. So again, in the safety index, we are doing very, very good. We are above the goal, which is excellent. Satisfaction with spiritual opportunities. We're going to talk about some of these and how we can kind of work on improving this. So in this one, we're close to the goal, but again, 54.8, I think that, you know, the goal is doable, something that we may want to even reach above as we go forward into the year. So this is SNF. This is us. We're 54.9, so we're very close to SNF. But again, one of the conversations that we've had with the ELT, which is Jerry Carley's direct reports, is that they really want to recognize the fact that though SNF will always be a center of our heart and our work, that our future, as we've talked about before, is the growth in housing. And so we really want to start, you know, looking at the whole campus and all of us as a whole, and not forgetting about anybody, but really how do we bring housing to the forefront of some of the conversations and some of the work. And this is one area that I think that you guys can agree as we look at this in the satisfaction, 54% satisfied with spiritual opportunities. Considering we're BHS, I think that this is something that we can look at, how can we improve that and how we can move that forward. The next one is the SNF resident recommend. And so again, I think this one is really quite interesting considering the different populations. In a very frail population, at a point in life where there's a lot of needs, really, really hard to address all of those needs, we're achieving 61.6% overall resident would you recommend. And in assisted living, and you could argue either way that one, you know, healthier people tend to, you know, have more opinions. You could go back and forth. But I still think the fact that we're at 50, even though we're meeting our goal, we're you know, 10 points behind the satisfaction that our campuses are receiving on the SNF side. So I definitely think that this is an area that we can work on. And so again, today, putting some focus on what are some ideas that can help to have this really bring this up, you know, so that people really, as we build new buildings or take on new buildings, BHS is something that everybody wants to recommend, and that we've got people ready to move in from day one. So again, in the other goals, you can look at your own, but associate service, associate engagement, 90-day retention, 12 months, these are all campus-wide, so a little less meaningful specific to the assisted living. So that's the dashboard. So in talking about the dashboard and some of the things on focus and execute, I wanted to start out with clinical care. And so one of the reminders, and I know you get similar reminders from Dr. B directly, but one aspect that I think can really help and would you recommend, as well as outcomes in clinical care, is a lot of the non-pharmacological solutions that Dr. B has presented. So he has cohorts in which they teach the well kits, which is a lot of aromatherapy, therapy dolls, touch, healing touch, and other forms of touch therapy. If you have not been included in one of those cohorts or you don't know what this is, please give me a call or call Dr. B. Make sure you're scheduled for one of these, especially if you have a memory care. Really, really helpful stuff. Another thing, some of this is old, some of this is new, is we are testing some other products or uses or things that I think can help make us more productive in our time. And give us tools that can help us meet the needs of the people that we serve. So one of them is called Never Too Late. I know for sure Madonna has this. There are several other buildings that have this. Our next step in the conversation of Never Too Late is we're going to find out which one of you has this. So my question, and the reason that's highlighted in blue, is one, so I can show it to you, which I will in a second. But two, if you are using this product, can you please email me? We want to bring people together who are using it so that we can assess its value and determine if this is something that we want to use as a recommended tool, such as we are with the therapy dolls and other things. And for those of you who don't know what it is, This is just it's, you know, if the vendor were here, they'd be giving a lot more information. But basically, it's a TV screen. It's a software, and the software has lots of options that can be used on a big screen for activities, or can be used on a tablet for calming a person. It can also be used for staff. And so this My Page would be all of your residents and the resident stories. So you could use that for the residents, so you could, you know, show them themselves and work on that to reminisce, but it can also be used to train new staff as they come on board as to who are these caregivers and what is their life like, so that they can see them as the whole person that they are. So that's there. There's lots of actual staff tools and training, training about sexuality in adults, training about behaviors, de-escalation, things like that, quick, easy tools that you can use for, you know, lunch and learns or what have you. And then a whole lot of tools around activities, music and film, like old 19, you know, I can't even think of any 1950 shows, but I watch them all the time, Leave It to Beaver or whatever, taking things in their time. So a lot of these are for, again, group activities or just single, quiet, watching waves run type of thing. So again, if you do use this product, please let me know. We will be looking at input, and this might be something that we recommend that folks use as a tool into the future. The other thing that we're looking at is very similar, virtual reality, where if you were in Duluth for the ULT, you might have seen this vendor was there, and it is a headphone that you put, or not, glasses that you put over your eyes, and it's virtual reality, and it takes you on vacations or undersea or where have you. Again, meant to be meant to help get people's mind off of pain, you know, get their mind off of stress. Again, non-pharmacological solutions. Right now, Madonna and Regina have received this product, and they are testing it under Dr. B. And if it does seem to have an impact in behavior and anxiety in the people that we serve, that may be something that we would bring forward to recommend to the rest. The other thing is music therapy. Information will be coming out soon about licensing. We're doing these global licensing, but within that, there is a product that Dr. B is looking at, and where, again, it is a controlled tablet where you can program certain types of music for appetite stimulation, for it's nighttime now, so soothing music, you know, et cetera. It also has all sorts of programming that you might be able to use for karaoke or group activities or what have you. So it fits within our licensing requirement, saves us, in some cases, some money. In other cases, just becomes a cost-effective, easy-to-control music program. And so look for more information on awareness on that. And so, again, all of these are just tools that you can use that might be endorsed by VHS. The other thing in clinical care is the falls prevention. Lisa Johnson is leading this, and there is a very specific VHS falls prevention program. And it was rolled out to all of the SNFs. So every skilled nursing should have been through this training and been through this program. What I've been told is that when that was done for the SNF, the assisted living was invited to that training. But I do want to make sure that I'm calling this out, because I know that if you are not attached to a SNF, or in some cases that message might not have gone forth. And so if you have not seen or been trained on the VHS Falls Prevention Program, then I would, you know, again, reach out to me or reach out to Linda Johnson, and they can help arrange for that training and education for you. Also reach out to your RNS. She can help you get hooked up and explain that program as well. Do we have any cost pricing information on these, or will this come as determined moving forward? Yeah, so in all of these, there is different costs depending on how much you want to use. The Never Too Late can be, depending on which products you use and which subscription, it can be about, the subscription is $250 a month, which is expensive, but it replaces other subscriptions. So it might actually be a cost saving. The equipment itself is about $5,000 or $6,000. So in the buildings that have it, I think they used it through the foundation to raise the money. In all of these cases, it's not going to be something that BHS is going to say you have to have and you're going to have to find the money. It's simply an option for you and when and if this fits within your budget and your capability. Also, BHS a lot of times looks for grants to support some of these things too. But yes, as we finalize these and as we say these are recommended, we'll have the price and information for you as well. I apologize that my computer is acting up and my screens are not changing. Okay. The next one I wanted to talk about is the resident and family satisfaction. So again, we just talked about satisfaction with spiritual opportunities. In assisted living, I'm seeing that this score is actually going up in a lot of cases, and Sean just joined me. Sean, you can help me watch the time because I can't see it on this. In assisted living, Jim Smith is in charge of this, and so if you are not aware of this, I think these are really nice value adds to your building. They really don't cost anything, but vigil cart, procession of honor, memorial carts cost very little, if nothing. I think Dr. B may even have some grants to cover some of this stuff. So if you are not using these products or these processes, procession of honor is how we honor people as they are carried out after their death. And so that is something that I would reach out to Jim Smith. Another thing that I wanted to introduce, and I'm going to close this down so that I can pull some things up, is the overall satisfaction. I'm going to pull up some tools that we have, but also if you have not received the invite, let me know or let Nathan know, but on the 19th, he will be going over the current results to our survey, our satisfaction survey, and some tools that we can be using. So it'll be the 19th at 10 a.m. and then there will be a second one in January. So take a look for those and let me know if you haven't been invited. In the meantime, though, some of the things for the overall satisfaction, just wanted to let you know that we already have these and they are out there. This is the person-centered wellness plan. And so anybody new that comes into our building, if you are in Minnesota, this is a requirement. If you are not in Minnesota, a person-centered wellness plan actually is a federal requirement if you participate in any sort of Medicaid type programming, but the other states are not quite as strict as Minnesota is. But it asks a lot about the person and what is important to them and allows you to then create a plan, introduce them to activities, build things into the service plan that really make sure that they're getting the services, the attention that they need that's based on their personal interests. And if you look at where we were at last year and what was kind of the most important thing to our residents as we looked at our scores, engaging activities, meaningful activities, personal growth was one area we had an opportunity. So that's why I wanted to share that one. The other ones, and I'm just going to go to a couple of them. From, not that. These are all available on eSource under the quality tools, but almost any question in the satisfaction surveys, there is a how would I improve that? So this one is offering meaningful activities, and it just talks about some ideas and how you can look at what is offered in your building and doesn't match what seems to be what seems to get results in improving the satisfaction. So you can, determine wishes. You can use that assessment that I just shared with you. Make sure that your activities are available. Are they available 24/7 so that people can use some of the things like books, TVs, have access, audiobooks, etc. Music, we talked about other ways to get music 24/7. Are there workshops available? And so again, you can just see this. Schedule activities, allow residents to regularly participate, so the times of the activities. So that's one tool. Another tool is resident friendship. So again, I'll just scroll through this really quickly. And you can see how you would just be able to look to see, are people making friends? What can you do to help them make friends? What can you do to make things meaningful for them and them to feel at home? There are tools like this on how to make dining more beautiful, how to make sure that the food is palatable, tools for almost everything. So it's out there in eSource under quality. If you have trouble finding it, again, contact Nathan or myself, and I can help you through that. Okay. So financial results, Kevin did go over this at ULT, so I'll just do this really quickly. I'm not sure how many of you were at the ULT, but I know at least some of you were. So again, doing really well overall as BHS. We are $3,711,000 on a budget of $1,400,000, so definitely doing well. Scrolling down, looking at housing and how are we contributing to that wellness. So we are $867,000 ahead of budget, so congratulations, folks, that's awesome. You know, if you look at who is doing that, so our kind of stable and everything going well, those buildings, if you are in Tier 1, congratulations, because you are over probably 80% of that number. If you are a new startup, you are also doing really well and ahead of budget. There's a few in between that are struggling, so if you are one of those Group 2, you know, reach out to a Group 1 or Group 3 and see if they have any ideas for you. But overall, the team as a whole is doing phenomenal, so congratulations, guys. Great stuff. Again, how is everybody doing that? Revenue is up in all aspects, and expenses are down. So again, Kevin showed these, but I'll just flash them up here really quick. You can see wages and benefits are down, revenue is up, purchase services are under budget, supplies under budget, and bad debt is a little bit higher than budget, but still doing well. Utilities are up, property costs are up, but yet you're still overall expenses, you're accounting for that and more. So again, congratulations, that's just amazing stuff. Looking at here, again, I think you all know Jackie Glenn, who helps us with census. Census has been right on budget. It's a little bit just a hair below right now, and we're going into the winter months, so if anybody has any concerns about your census, reach out to Jackie Glenn. She can help you with some ideas, especially in how we can get through the winter. But again, congratulations, great job, because that's, as people are building new housing every single day, keeping up our census and having that grow like that is pretty remarkable, so a lot to be proud of. Okay, so that's it on financial. I don't see any questions on financial. All right. So kind of on the census and the financial, one of the things that I just wanted to remind people, for some of you this may be meaningless, but for others, one thing that I've discovered is there, through Jackie and other people that have talked to people in the buildings and seen the different types of policies and procedures that we might have about move-in, I just kind of wanted to remind you of what would be, I would say, an expected standard for move-ins. And so again, if as I say this seems to be problematic to you or you have any questions on it, you can ask now or you can call me after it. But I just want to make sure that we know that, you know, an apartment is vacant. A lot of times people will say, yeah, I really want to move in, but I got to sell my house, or I want to wait till the, you know, the snow melts or whatever. And in some cases, buildings are allowing people to wait up till 90 days, or they may not even have a timeline. They just say, okay, that's on reserve till this person can come. So really that apartment is vacant and should be rented and not held for anybody until a lease is signed. And that is the only time that an apartment should be held. And once a lease is signed, they should start paying the next first of the month. So if I sign the lease today, December 13th, I would start paying January 1st, whether I move in or not. If I wanted to move in next week, I would start paying next week. So there really shouldn't be anything longer. You know, the most should be 31 days for which that an apartment would be held, where somebody would sign a lease and then say, I'm going to move in on the first of the month. So, and then, you know, some people may be doing this because they want to make sure that they've got that commitment. So if that's the reason that you're holding these apartments or allowing people to sign on earlier, we do have documents that we can modify, or that Trent Pepper can modify for you. That can be like a refundable move-in deposit. We wouldn't call it a deposit fee, move-in fee or commitment fee or what have you. So if that's an issue for you, we can give you that document. So that's enough on that one. Wanted to give you an update on the pricing. How am I doing on time here, Sean? What time is it?
2:26.
Okay, 4 minutes. We can come back to this too. So the pricing update, Marion is complete. St. Crispin is complete. Other buildings are starting. I am going to pull up the checklist here and talk to you about what the process is like, and that it does take quite a bit of time. So if you are looking to do this in, within next year, earlier part of next year, or even before June, you want to start thinking about it and contacting me in January. Otherwise, I'll start reaching out to folks as well. I think one of the things within the pricing structure for independent living people who are receiving services, we're implementing a home care coordination fee. And for buildings for which they cap out on their level of care at a low dollar amount, like a $2,000 or $2,500 is your highest level of care, there is a fair increase to some people. So both of those realities occurred at St. Crispin, and Jackie just went through it. She sent out her letters. They've all been received. And so I asked her to please unmute herself and talk a little bit about her experience and how the residents reacted to that. So Jackie, are you there? Or not, Jennifer, not Jackie, because I was saying Jackie Lynn.
Well,
Sorry.
I can go by Jackie if you'd like.
Jennifer Myers, thank you, sorry.
I, like Penny just said, it takes a long time to get there, but I think a lot of our people, we had such a hodgepodge of pricing and things that went on at our facility that the two people I thought that would have a big issue with it actually were very kind about it after the letters went out, and my anxiety was high, and they just want to talk, and they think that it's a lot more transparent with how the pricing structure is being set up now, and that they're appreciative of it. And I've gotten some really good feedback as far as we're going to provide phone service, and we're also including the lunch meal in their rent. So I think a lot of planning went into it, and I'm grateful that it went well. So the whole team that helped was amazing as well. So we'll see when we schedule the meetings. We have about 5 meetings set up so far to meet with people, and I think it's going to go good. Robin's here in the room with me as well, and I think she's heard, if anything, good stuff too. So we just have to wait until we have the meetings, but so far so good. Is that what you wanted me to say, Penny?
That is exactly what I wanted, Jennifer.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Jennifer? Okay. I saw that Laura joined, so Laura, I'm just going to do one more thing and then we will turn it over to you. So if you just give me a little bit of patience here. I do want to pull up the checklist on the pricing tool. So the first thing that we do is we set up a meeting with myself, and I go over the pricing structure, not only with you, but all the members of your team that may need to be a part of this, so that everybody's on the same page as to what does it look like. From that, we have templates for independent living, assisted living, and memory care. You take that template, and then we put that, we match that to your facility. As part of that, in setting the new rates, we also need to do a market study, because we want to make sure that as we set this up and transfer rates, that we are still within the market. So for example, in the pricing point, it would go from, the average would be $450 for the first package. But that's the Twin Cities price. If I'm up in Ada, it may not be that expensive, because Ada market may be 10 or 15% lower than that. So we want to look at where that fits and not just assume that everybody would fit into Twin Cities pricing. If you're in North Dakota, it may be different. If you're in Illinois, it may be higher. So that's part of the process. So, and then that's making the decision on the pricing packages, and then we would review that with finance, and because when we want to look at these prices, review it with the regional director and make sure that we will still hit our bottom line and that there's no undue consequences that we aren't aware of. So that takes some time in meeting and allowing them to run that analysis. And then we need to work with the centralized billing office, or if you do your own billing, with your billing office, because they need to reset up the new pricing into the system. And if it's the CBO, they need at least 30 days to do that. Then what we need to do is we need to, and again, Jennifer or Robin, please, or if Noelle is on too, she just went through this at Marion, you want to actually run these scenarios and say what is going to happen to the people who live in this building. So for example, at Madonna and Byron, their highest care level was $2,500. And there are several people that are actually more up in like a $5,000 or $6,000 care level. And so it would have some significant impact on those people. So you want to know about that before these letters go out, because those people are going to come knocking on your door, and you're going to want to know what's my plan and how are we going to work through this. So that needs to occur as well. Then you meet with Janice, and Janice helps you with talking points. She's got some templates for talking points for your staff, talking points for you. She helps you write the letter and make all of it personal to your building and your circumstance, and so that takes a little bit of time. Then we need to make decisions on how we're going to roll it out. Is it going to, so for example, St. Mary's is a memory care. Everybody there is on one all-inclusive rate, so it's really just a matter of switching to the new reality. Not a big deal. We can do that in one stop. If you've got 3 levels of care and you've got some of these nuances, you're going to probably want to do it on your 90-day assessment if you're in Minnesota, or if you're in another state, build it in so that your nursing doesn't have to look at your entire building in one day, which would be unrealistic. So you want to kind of figure that out. The auditing I talked about, that takes some time as you look at that and how it's going to affect your people. And then we review it all again just to make sure that, you know, we've got new eyes on it. Linda helps us with the pricing tools and teaches all of you how to use those. Then we send out the letters, you meet with families, let them know what's going on. As you roll this out, we will also give you a new admission package, and that admission packet includes a new handbook, so we need to update that, has a new lease, has all the advanced care planning and other documents, and so, you know, again, need to prepare that. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of work that needs to go into this, and it's not something that you want to try to just put together in a couple weeks. So reach out to me, let me know what your timeline is, where you'd want to roll this new pricing structure out, and then we can back up from there. Alrighty, so Laura, are you on the call?
I am.
Hi, Laura. Okay, I've also got Sean Johnson with me, and Sean is our new CIO. Maybe not so new anymore, right?
Couple months now.
Couple months, yeah. So do you want to introduce Laura, or you want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Laura is from Elder Solutions Group. As I had said, within assisted living and also in the SNF, we had 2 products. We had Advanced Wireless and we had IdeaCom. And as I started to look at them and say, how would this fit for what I've heard you all tell me we need in assisted living, it really just didn't fit the model. It seemed like there was a lot of vendors telling me it could do a lot of really cool stuff, but those vendors were new. And our previous CIO and our new CIO both agree that you shouldn't pull anything off the shelf and put that into your entire system. That's probably not a good idea. So Sean actually introduced us to Elder Solutions Group, which Laura will explain came out of IdeaCom. But yet they have been around, and this product has been around for 7 years, I think, something like that.
Maybe more, but Laura can clarify.
Laura could clarify that. And Sean has used them before and can testify to them. So this will be, this is one just stating, this is our preferred vendor for assisted living. And Laura Johnson is from Elder Solutions Group, and she's going to talk to us about her product. So go ahead, Laura.
Great. Thank you for the introduction. So yeah, I just want to I'll start out by introducing myself and our company. We are Elder Solutions Group. We used to be with IdeaCom, if anyone is familiar with that name. IdeaCom was around forever, and I think 60 some years, but our senior housing team, we had, our CEO has been a part of the long-term care community, or communities for good 20 plus years. Our director of sales has been doing this for about 20 years as well. And we saw a big need and a need to change our model when we were with IdeaCom. So we wanted to be able to take our senior housing team and our expertise, change our pricing model, change our implementations, and kind of just change the way we were able to help our clients and form to what they were asking us to do, rather than just the normal, let's get this installed, call us if you need something. So that is pretty much how Elder Solutions Group was formed. And Penny, if you want to go to the next page. There you go. So we are a 24/7 integration company. And so by integration company, you might be used to the advanced wireless type of company where they offer you a product and it's everything that they manufacture. We take a different approach by finding products on the market that would fit what your communities are looking for. And we are able to take those products and integrate them together with a single device. So over the past probably five plus years, people had been asking us to integrate everything to a smart device, so they could use it not only for communication, but other applications that they're using in the community, whether it's charting or security cameras or menu applications or whatever made sense to people. So the one product that we've manufactured is an application that would go on an iOS device and communicates with all of your systems. As you can see on the side of on the PowerPoint, we take care of everything low voltage. So everything from call systems, door access, communication, security, wander management, Wi-Fi, anything in your building that would be a low voltage or a technology type of system. And if you want to go to the next one, Penny. Thank you. So the 4Call system is just an app on the phone. This was the only product that our company has created. Being that we were an integration company, we wanted to make technology at your communities easier for you, because a lot of people just don't have the support on site. So rather than having 3 different types of call systems and all these types of technologies in your building running on different applications and different devices, we wanted to take all of your systems and take inputs from them and have them go to an iOS application, which is how 4Call came about. So our 4Call application was able to utilize some of your older technology that you have in your building, as well as connect with newer technology and bring some new features into the community to make your lives a little bit easier. This application allows you to receive messaging from call systems, wander management systems, any other types of systems in your building that might send outputs, maybe your fire alarm, whatever it might be, and send messages to your call system so that staff can have everything at their hand on their handheld device, and then communicate between staff and even communicate to residents as well. With that application, we can connect it to your phone system so that you can use it over your Wi-Fi and dial out to the outside world, or even dial into residents' apartments. Then we can also receive messages from the call system and give you other ways to communicate within your building. So you're not using a pager and a radio and maybe an iPad or whatever it might be. We're trying to consolidate, so you're only using one device. And then if you want to go to the next one. So I just put a quick PowerPoint together to show you some of the features of the application. Feel free to jump in and ask questions at any time, whether it's on the chat or if you just want to talk about it over the phone. We can go through any of that, but I want this to be very open so that you can ask questions and we have everyone understanding what this does. But if you can see, the 4Call application is just an app. So we get it put on all your phones. We help manage those phones so that we lock everything down and only allow your staff to use applications that you have allowed them to use, which might be your call system application, charting, security cameras, applications like that. And then we can eliminate them from using Facebook or going on the internet or taking pictures or those types of things. So we want to be able to manage that. And then if they take those phones off site, we can actually have it locked down once it leaves your Wi-Fi. So staff cannot take that away from the building and try and use it other places. And if they do try and get on the internet anywhere else at a different site, then we can actually know the address that it's on. So it's a nice way for us to be able to manage those devices for you. The for-call, we would set up usernames and passwords on that application so that you decide who you want to receive messages, when you want them to receive them, how you want them to escalate, what you want them to see in the application. So it's very easy for us to customize this for you. And if you want to go to the next slide.
Technical difficulties, hold on.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, it does that a lot to me. Go ahead.
Okay, and now my screenshots are actually going right into the system. So before I start going into how this works, does anyone have any questions? Okay. So if you can see on the left side of the screen, I have kind of a picture that shows you how calls would come across. So we have worked with Apple to ensure that if the app is closed or open, these alerts take priority because you want to know if somebody pulls a pull cord, presses an emergency button, a smoke detector goes off, whatever it might be. So we have we've been able to color code them, whether they're a priority or if they're a normal call or if they've been closed or all of that. It's all in this app that allows us, it's based off of what you decide during a needs assessment phase of our process, just to make sure you're getting everything you want out of it and using the system the way that you feel you should be using it. On the right side of the screen right now, you can see a dial pad. We have been able to integrate to phone systems on site so that you can not only use this application to dial other extensions on the iPhone, but we can also set it up to integrate with your phone system so that you can dial out or you can dial your resident's phone that's sitting in their room. Family members, doctors, whatever makes sense to you. It's the or your phone integration. It's something that we were able to do with most systems when we would work with Sean and his team to make sure that the system that you have at your site is something that we can integrate with. But that's the goal, to make sure that everyone is up and running on that. And then if you want to go to the next slide. So then if you see on the bottom of this application, you can see that there is a phone tab, an alert tab, a resident tab, a staff tab, and a more tab. That resident tab is the one that we're seeing right now, where it shows you any residents that you are caring for in your tasks for the day. So we can set it up to be generic and just say, I want my staff to see apartment 101 or room 101 or whatever makes sense. Or we have an integration with Matrix so that you can have certain information pulled over from Matrix, whether it be their name, their birth date, a couple pieces of information. We have a list of what Matrix will allow us to pull over, and you can choose from that list of how much you want your staff to see. And that is something that actually has already been completed. Yep.
And the goal is, and we'll talk about this when we talk about Matrix, but the goal is if we choose to use handhelds for Matrix, Matrix would also be on this, and so it would be the same device. Yes.
And yes, we've already completed an integration with Matrix, so it is something that has already been done. So it's not something I'm telling you will be there in the future. It could be there now. If you click on a resident's name, you can also, if you see on the right side of the screen, you can press the phone to actually dial them. So we can set this up so it dials their extension in their room, or we can find some history about how often they're pressing their call during your shift. So just little pieces that we've added in there. There's a spot for resident information there, and that would be where the information from Matrix is pulled over into. Any questions about that at all with Matrix? Okay, next slide. Let me go back one. There we go. All right, so this is the staff tab. One piece that has actually been on each screen since we started the slideshow is at the top. It's a little green button. We wanted to create a tab to allow people to select the busy status if they're if they don't want people calling them or trying to get a hold of them, or if they're on a break or whatever might be the reason. But it's very important to know that by pressing that, all it does is put an orange light next to you, It does not cancel any calls. It does not bypass any messages or anything like that. It's just a way for if you are having a private conversation with a resident or whatever it might be. That was just something that somebody had requested that we added. Which brings me to a good topic. Being that this is a product that our engineers have created, we are very open to suggestions and requests with our system, which is how our system was created in the first place. So that is one thing I want everyone to keep in mind, that we want to work with you and make this a system that works well for you. So if you have something that's going to make your life very much more easy on your shifts, or your staff have been requesting, we are always open to suggestions, and we put that in through our next round. We try and put out updates every 6 months, large updates. Your staff tab, though, is somewhat similar to your resident tab. It shows you which staff are working. As you can see on the left-hand side, there's a little green dot next to the staff on the top, and then there's blue and there's gray. Green would be somebody who's on duty, holding their phone, using it. So it might be give you peace of mind that I could call them because they're actually using their phone right now. The blue dot, or we can do that in other colors if it makes sense, maybe a yellow or an orange for idle. That just means that they are on duty, but they are not currently using their phone. And then the gray dot means they are off duty, not logged in right now. So that was another request of some of our clients, just to make sure that they knew who they were able to contact if it made sense, if they needed to call someone or text someone. And then if you select a staff member's name, if you can see on the right-hand side, that is where you can call a staff member or press the chat to send them a text message. All of our chatting and messaging is reportable, so you will know if your staff are abusing it, or if you just want to know what they're who's talking to who and how often or anything like that. We can pull reports on all this. All right, next screen. And then the last tab on here is a More tab. These are other features that have been requested over time. We have a group chat feature, so that allows you to send a message to everybody if you want to. A lot of people have said, I just want to be able to send alerts, maybe the health department's here, or whatever the alert would be, just to everybody all at once. And you can send that to all staff. We did add a push-to-talk feature on there, but I did want to make it clear that since this is a push-to-talk going over your Wi-Fi, it cannot message or talk to everybody at once, because it just, the Wi-Fi cannot handle it. So we can send a push-to-talk message up to 6 staff members at a time, and you just select who you want that message to go to or who you want to alert at that time. And we can set up groups of 6 people, so people have said maybe we will message management all at once, or nurses all at once, or whatever makes sense. But we can work with you on setting up groups that would be 6 people, or you can just select them individually. We also have an assignment option. So we pre-set up your assignment, so your staff really just have to log into a phone. But we had the request as well as, what if we have these set up and somebody calls in sick, so I need to cover another area. So we did create a way for staff to be able to pick up an area during their shift, so you wouldn't have to carry 2 devices or log in on 2 apps. It's just a way for you to pull over messaging from that area for your shift. So tried to make it a little easier so you weren't having to carry multiple devices or find a way to cover extra areas if needed. And then there's a call history message. Settings just tells you a little bit about the phone that you're using. And so those are some of the big features of the phone or of the device. I think we are done with the slides if you want to go to the last one. Yeah, so that is 4Call in a nutshell. It does a lot. It was created by us to somehow make your lives a little easier. And we just wanted, we have many installations out there, probably well over 100 in Minnesota alone. We worked with Sean quite some time in the past. The 4Call does connect to our call system. We use the RCube system, which has been around for 15 plus years. We've been using it for at least for about 15 years now. So those are some of the applications that we can offer, but the 4Call is the main one I wanted to talk about today, so that you knew that there was something out there that kind of could give you an all-inclusive device that would allow you to communicate via voice, via text, receive messages from the call system, and use your handheld device for other features as well, just besides your call system. On the PowerPoint I provided Pennie, I have my contact information. So if anyone wants to reach out to Pennie, if you have questions for me on the side or want to call me or email me, feel free at any time. But also, if anyone has any questions right now, I'd be happy to answer any.
So while they're thinking about questions, Laura did send me some of the reporting, so I wanted to show you that as well. So this is kind of the snapshot, and again, Laura can talk about this a little bit if she wants to, but this is, you know, the overall ship calls per day, response time, kind of the metrics that you would look at. Here's the detail where you can break it down into all sorts of different little points. Calls per day. I'm glad Sean's here because he sees how slow my computer is. Calls per day, and so again, you can kind of see, you know, when you're looking at, you know, staff, well, gee, there's not that much scheduled stuff. Why are you guys saying you don't have enough time in the day? Well, this can tell you by wing or by shift or what have you, how many calls they're getting, what their response times is. Can have a little contest and who responds quickest. Call duration, call by hour. So again, which shifts and where are they calling, so you can understand. And this is also a nice thing too. I know at Steeple Point, they had a particular resident that liked to call, like, you know, I think it was 20 times a day was one of her best days. So when you're having a conversation with family, you can really show them, you know, what's going on, that maybe you need some more services or something is going on here, so you can do it that way as well. And so lots of reportability, lots of other options. Any questions?
Sure, and with the reports.
Go ahead, sorry, Laura.
I was going to add on with the reports, you can actually access those reports from any computer within the building, and we can set up any of those reports to be automatically emailed to you at any time. So it's very flexible.
And the product can be used with all of our buildings' existing call systems, correct, Sean?
Well, there may be some dinosaurs out there that don't, but for the most part, they can integrate with a lot of different call systems. So it's a way to take and use different call systems in the communities and make a consistent product for our caregivers out there.
So, you know, again, everything has costs, and so each building needs to weigh when and if they would use this. And I'll go into the update on Matrix, but if we decide to use handhelds, and I'll tell you why I say if, in Matrix, you know, then in some of our buildings where they're carrying walkie-talkies, and if it's a small building, they might be answering the phone at night, so they're carrying a phone. And then now with Matrix, they'd also have the handheld. This is the product that would integrate all of those. So when we would integrate the handheld, it could potentially take over all those things. So something to think about in the overall expense of all these different pieces and staff time and use and what they can carry. So something to consider. So, and an update on Matrix, and so again, thank you, Laura, very, very helpful. I'm not seeing any questions, so I really appreciate that, and your time today. And I gave Laura very short notice. We met with them, and I'm like, everybody needs to see this, so Laura, hurry up. So thank you very much for doing that.
Yep, and I appreciate everyone's time.
Yeah, yeah. So, so Matrix, kind of back to that, and the rest of our time, I'll give you an update on that. And again, glad that Sean is here because he can answer any questions on that as well. But what was happening with Matrix is we were getting little bits and pieces. We were having somebody train us in the finance side, and somebody train us on the clinical, and somebody train us on this. And then when we'd ask the question, well, how does this integrate? We would get, unfortunately, in some cases, wrong answers, in other cases, no answers. And so we were really feeling that we were unable to build the software if we really couldn't understand how it all worked. So today we had a 4-hour meeting with Matrix where they actually went through from beginning to end how it all works so we can kind of see it. It was done by the person who actually created the product. I think, you know, I felt that it worked really well and that it was a good system. So excited to now start the build. So we already have the build scheduled in December and January. The only one that's not scheduled right now is the billing. The billing, we're not going to change billing system, so I don't think that's a deal breaker. But as many of you know, our AL system, we're still going to bill out of the same product, but all of our ALs or housing are set up differently. So we do want to set it up uniformly, and we need to be able to then set it up and map it to the new Interact software or Intact software, Intact. And so that needs to be kind of coordinated, and we have to write a new general ledger and do everything. So hopefully that will be able to come on the same timeline. That might delay it slightly. But where we're at right now is December and January, we will be writing the build. And then February 1st, it will be going live tentatively at Steeple Point. Again, choosing Steeple Point because, one, because they're really nice and willing to be the guinea pig for us. Thank you, Steeple Point. And also because it's small, and so we should be ideally able to be nimble, be able to test things easily without having to rewrite systems for a 200-bed building. What we're going to test at Steeple Point, and again, if you have any questions on this, Sean can weigh in, but the handhelds, ideally the software will work on a handheld. You may want a tablet, you may want a computer if you're for the EMR, if you have a somebody other than a resident assistant giving meds. But in theory, it should all be done on the handheld. The problem is that some of our buildings, the cost of making everything Wi-Fi is really expensive. And I think like Villa St. Vincent is one of them, right? That
I don't know which ones were still left and which ones were cost prohibitive yet.
Yeah, there's a couple of them, and you know who you are, because you don't have a Wi-Fi upgrade yet. Some of them are still on the way to be upgraded, but some of them, and I think Villa St. Vincent is one of them, because of the way the building is structured or built. It's built like a brick wall, or is a brick wall, and so the Wi-Fi would be very hard. So what we're looking at is by allowing the staff to document, are we capturing enough documentation that it will override the cost of Wi-Fi in the building? And if it's not, then what would be the option for those buildings? Would it be better for you to use kiosks or things like that? So that's why when we talk about the handhelds, we're not saying that it's a given. It's going to need to be a community by community decision based on your building and what works right for you. But if the handheld is the right decision for you, again, it would tie in, it would be on a device that if and when you need a new emergency response system or your door alert system or your phone, that it would be one product, so that as we add these other products on, you would only have one device. If you haven't seen it already, Linda is doing monthly updates in the newsletter. So when you want to know where we're at with Matrix, I will always update you on this call, but also look for those updates from Linda. So any question on Matrix? I am going to go backwards. There was a question on the Never Too Late, and did it have any training on bullying? I don't know. It did have a lot, so I think that actually might have been in there, but let me validate that and I will email you. I believe that was Living Community of St. Joseph, so I'll email Chris Kern the answer to that. And if that wasn't Chris, let me know. Any questions on that? Okay. So that was Elder Care Solutions. We already went through that. The other thing is just a reminder, if you are looking for a new call system or anything that was kind of covered in what we just talked about when we were talking about IT, go through Dean Eagle. Here's your go-to guy. He's so knowledgeable, so helpful. 90%, I mean, probably all of you already know Dean very well. If you don't know Dean, you should. But he can help make sure that we are, looking to the future as you're solving any immediate solutions. And then again, with Sean being here, I'm just going to volunteer. He's always available too.
Absolutely.
He's smiling. He said absolutely. So can reach through him. Okay, so we are at 3 o'clock. Just a couple of really quick questions. So the vendor of the day, I just wanted to give you a heads up on this. It's called Fire Revert. And I lost my internet here. Where did it go? I just wanted to, oh, it went away. You can Google it, and this will be recorded so you can see it. But Fire Avert is really, there was a fire in North Dakota where a woman was unable to really manage her stove anymore, but she still fit appropriately into assisted living, and they didn't want to have to remove it. So I was thinking, boy, it would have been nice if they had had this product. So I just wanted to let you know, if you do not already know of this, if there is a fire on the stove, this detects it and it turns off the stove automatically. So it would stop the fire. So that's my kind of vendor tip of the day. Other reminders. In Minnesota, there, as of January 1st, there will be a slight change in how they calculate the EW, and this should result in an increase. They have also increased the caps. How you reach a cap is that if you need the same ADL, but you need more of it, that will not put you into a new case mix. You will just have to provide that same level in that same category. And if you hit the cap, you can't get more money. The fact that they raised the caps means now you can get more money. So if you have people who are pushing the cap, and so again, if you talk to your director of nursing, if this doesn't make sense to you, call me. You're going to want to make sure that you flag those people, make sure the care manager identifies them, and make sure you get more money for that cap. There is a new RS tool, which is how they figure out the case mix. We will be sending out a link. There was a webinar on it the other day. They recorded it, so Nancy will be looking for that link and we'll send it out to you. Also, there was a change in incontinent products. So if any of that is unfamiliar, let me know. Again, you got this update at ULT, but Northfield's still on track. Sales have begun. Lots of interest in that, so I think that that's going to open up quite nicely. Shakopee, we're still finalizing financing. And then we will be updating the home care manual, and there will be more information coming out from Jerry Reinhardt on that. So we're over our time by 3 minutes, but I do just want to be able to open it up for questions, comments, or thoughts. Got one more question here. What call system works with this app?
Many call systems. So the Elder Solutions Group product 4Call is an integration appliance that ties into many different call systems that are out there, as long as they have an ability to alert. So again, there's some very ancient systems that don't have an ability to alert out, but most systems out there would have that capability, and it would have to be evaluated on a case by case.
But in general, if your call system is less than how many years old, would you probably
I don't know
be
that
safe?
I could put a date on there really, but at 10, 15 years old, I would think they're going to have that type of solution. But again, there could be different levels of alerting that they have. It's just we'd have to evaluate it and get it in front of Laura to respond on how that product will look with that particular system.
Okay.
But many of them out there are supported.
Does Ariel Stanley work?
Yes, Stanley is one that is capable.
And just to add on that, if you're purchasing a new call system, it is easiest for us to integrate with the RCube because we do so many integrations with that system, but it is case by case. We can try most any system.
Yeah, for new systems, RCare is definitely one that I prefer.
Ada would love to be a part of the pilot group for this system. Okay. So duly noted. I will follow up with you later, Cindy, or have Dean follow up with you. I'll give Sean the information, and we'll go from there. Okay, wonderful. Any other comments, thoughts, questions that the group might have? Unmute yourself. Feel free to speak. Alrighty, well, with that, I don't see anything, so thank you for the extra 5 minutes. I appreciate that. I thank you, as always, for everything you do. Have a lovely day, and if I don't see you, have a lovely holiday season. Bye.